Obviously, thrilled with the win there. What an incredible atmosphere, in here. I knew we were in for kind of a special night in here when when I entered the arena an hour and 20 minutes before the game and to see the student section just about completely full. Just want to thank the students. They were amazing. Our fans have been with us the whole year, all year. I think, not only is it one of the most passionate and best fan bases in the country, but it's also an incredibly knowledgeable one because, through the tough losses early in the season, I think they saw the improvement, saw the direction that this thing's going in, and they stayed with us, and we'd just like to thank them. Obviously, it's an honor. It's an honor to play, to play and defeat a team like Houston. They're an outstanding program, one of the best in the country with one of the best coaches and some of the best players. And to beat them, you damn near got to kill them. And and Grimes and those guys obviously, fought their tail off. So great defensive effort, and just couldn't be prouder of our group. Christian definitely didn't want to lose. He never does. He's a very stubborn guy, especially, when it comes to competing. There's just no give-in in him. And just to see an evolution in the last 6 to 7 weeks in particular, but over the course of, these 2 years. I mean, there were times last year where I wasn't sure if we could coexist. And, but man, that's the joy of coaching, is to see, a young man just change and mature and develop into, what you've seen at the end of the season. He's been a great player in the last 6 to 7 weeks, and he's played as well as anyone in the conference in the last, 6 or 7 weeks. He's been as good as any player in the league. I thought he went about 60 seconds too long. No, me and a cook were talking about it. He was awesome there. I'll say this, from a basketball standpoint, just shot selection and playing more like a really good guard in terms of his passing and decision making. And then I'll say just as accepting a role that this team needed. I mean, we'd be lost if he didn't, take that leadership mantle. Like I said, 6 or 7 weeks ago, the light switch came on, and he really became like the leader of the team, along with Al. Tariq has been more of a quiet leader, but he's helped bring along James. He's helped bring along Gaffney. He wasn't territorial about being the senior and this is my team. There was a flip of a switch there where he started. He really understands leadership now.
When did you know Al was good to go today? Were you at the arena or before that?
How about I don't know, about 35 minutes before tip. Literally 35 minutes. James, the trainer, came in and asked me what I thought. I said, I don't know why the hell you're asking me what I think. I'm hiding in the locker room. I'm not watching pregame warm-up. So I said, he felt like Al was about 80-85% today. But man, you saw that kid's heart on full display today. His on-ball defense, particularly in the second half, was a huge reason why we won. Obviously, James is scoring, and Christian will get a bunch of highlights, and Isaiah's continued ascension. But Al's on-the-ball defense was some man stuff.
It may be impossible to out-rebound this team out in Nobody's done it this year, but do you feel like you held your own up and helping that way? You had a couple
Yeah.
big rebounds.
I mean, you can't simulate what they do, on the backboard. We knew we had to offset that by playing really good field goal percentage defense, and to keep them, a team like that offensively, to 36% from the field, and that's with Grimes going off late, so it was obviously an even lower number before he went on that tear at the end. But I mean, they came in like waves where they were getting like 3 or 4 in like one possession. So I think that number's like a little bit skewed because we had like a couple of possessions where they got like 3. But we did enough. But man, they're physical.
Yeah, what was your message at halftime after they had made that run to take the lead?
Yeah, I mean, we played better than them in the first half. I mean, we had a bad end to the first half because we had a couple guys in foul trouble. And sometimes I go in there and, I go nuts but at halftime the whole, and the staff goes crazy about, you got to get after it, we're not playing enough pop, whatever. But that wasn't the case today. We outplayed them in the first half. We just had a really unfortunate kind of last couple minutes of that first half. So really it was about building their confidence up at halftime and letting them know to beat a team of this caliber. You got to weather the storms during the course of the game, and they responded quickly.
Shot 50% against a really good defensive team. When you do that.
Just continued maturity, of the group. Again, shot selection's gotten better. We're working harder to get better shots at that end of the court. Guys are much more comfortable playing together. You're doing we're kind of doing what you're supposed to do during the course of the season, even through the injuries. We're getting better. That's what team is supposed to do during the course of the season.
You had 2 big runs, one in the first half, one in the second half. It seemed like they got very aggressive during those runs, both on both ends of the court. What happened during those runs?
For us to go on a run, or for them?
For you to go on those runs.
Yeah, I mean it's kind of how basketball is played, when you have that many skilled guards that were on the court tonight, especially for them, when they went 4 guards with White at the 5 or Gorman at the 5, I mean they're really really hard to guard. So they're going to go on a stretch where they're going to have multiple good possessions offensively, and then when we're putting Christian on the court with Booknight and Isaiah at the 5 with either out 3 Jalen or Brendan. There's a lot of skilled players on the court, and so I just think there are a lot of skilled players which allow you to go on stretches on offense where you look good. But I would just say that we're 18 and 12, but we're a good team. They're a really good team, potentially a great team, but we're a good team that's finally learned how to win.
And carnality. Throwing the metrics aside, the records aside, by the eye test, do you feel like you're a postseason caliber team?
Absolutely. I mean, hey, listen, there were growing pains early in the season. We experienced it in the non-conference. Not to take anything away from St. Joe's, but there's a lot going on that day, and then obviously, Booknight, what number is he? 2. Booknight's number 2. When Booknight, number 2, he probably could have helped us in that game. I don't know what you guys think. You guys are smart basketball people, but not having him for those games and not having him for the early part of practice put us behind the 8 ball, put him behind the 8 ball in terms of bringing this team along. Obviously, we did the right thing, which schools should do if players are involved in incidents like that off the court. Some do, some don't, but we did, and that obviously caused us to have a real stain, on our resume. But and then obviously the start to the conference play, we're still going through those growing pains. But I mean, we've beaten. They're an NCAA team. Cincinnati's an NCAA team. Florida's an NCAA team. And then pretty much minus a game that Book didn't play in, and minus those first 2 road games where we obviously didn't perform well. We've either been gone to overtime or played teams that are NCAA caliber to 1-possession games. So I mean, I would think if we continue to play well, we'll get a chance to play somewhere.
You're beating the top 3 teams in the league now too, Al. I don't know if that's happened since they've been in the league. I mean, to give you confidence going forward when you get to the conference tournament.
Yeah, I mean, we obviously got to manage these guys. We're not going to be able to do a whole lot of practicing. Obviously we could play Sid for a couple minutes, here and there, which kind of, if Al's back holds up, that gives us like 7.5 players here, moving forward here if we keep everybody fresh and healthy. So, Right now it's just about keeping these guys fresh, keep them healthy, keep them hungry, and I know that they're excited about playing another really meaningful game on Sunday to get us to 10-8 in the conference and to get us 19, 19 wins. If you'd said that to me the day that Tyler tore his ACL and then the night that Cook went down, I'd have thought that you were crazy.
What do you think this group of seniors, specifically Christian and Al, that went to the program, and what was it like honoring them prior to the game?
Foundation, man, they're the foundation of what's going to happen next for us, which is going to be a lot more nights like this and a lot more nights like the stretch that we've played. They've instilled a standard. They've helped us instill a standard that in last year's transition year we couldn't get to that point with the group because we hadn't spent enough time together. So there'll be people, particularly Christian, because Al's situation, is obviously more up in the air. But we're just with Christian. He's a guy that we'll talk about. Both in the near future with teams and down the line when we get back to being what UConn's supposed to look at and say that this was the year that the standard got back to being the standard.
Coach, do you consider this one of your most memorable wins since you've been at UConn? More memorable, just dealing with the emotion that was in the program.
That was up there. That was nice. That was nice because that was the only team we hadn't beaten. We felt like we should have beat them there this year. A lot of things went on, which, I don't want to do a follow-up question with Dave where he asked me about the player not being allowed to sub out at the end. But that, it was important to all of us. This was the one team we haven't beaten. And I just think from a team confidence standpoint, going into the weekend, into next week, it's maybe a mental hurdle for the group that we now know going into, when the University of Connecticut heads to Dallas for the conference tournament, that we know we could beat anyone in the field.